Good afternoon, Southern California, Los Angeles. What a beautiful day here at 88.7 FM, your favorite radio station. I'm Andy Subia, your host. And as usual, we bring you the very, very best in programming on FM radio throughout the country. What a beautiful day here in Southern California. It's about 88 degrees. We're looking out of the studio into the Hollywood Mountains and the Hollywood sign, and it's just a fantastic day. And I couldn't even be more happier to just let you know what a fantastic show we're going to have. On behalf of Crossroads, a nonprofit organization, we're bringing you this show, which is going to be fantastic because through the nonprofit, we're able to cover a lot of ground. Subjects that are incredibly important to the community, to the county, to the city, and also to everybody that is listening on 88.7 locally. Welcome to the show. We know we have a tremendous fan base out there that listens to Crossroads, a nonprofit organization, every week, and we bring you the best programming without any commercials, which is fantastic because basically we're reaching out to you so that you have incredible programming. You learn a lot about what's happening in communities, in cities, and of course all across the country. As you know, we are really in a good place economically right now. There's a lot of great things happening. We've got some housing reports. The news have been less than flattering in the last couple of days, but we'll get to that later on in the program. 88.7 FM, your favorite radio station. I'm Andy Subia, your host. Today, Crossroads, a nonprofit organization, is going to have a very special program for you that is going to interest people all over the country because it deals with firefighter safety. It deals with fire departments all across the country. And what a great job that all of these fire departments and all of these firefighters and volunteer stations, so volunteer firefighters all over the country, what a great job that they do. So our hats off to you. And basically the program this afternoon is going to be about firefighter safety, and we have a lot of great information. And we also have an incredible guest with us on 88.7 FM, your favorite radio station, Crossroads, a nonprofit organization. Andy Subia is proud to present, without further ado, Robert West from Platinum Preservation Company. Welcome to the program. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Well, thanks, Andy. Thank you for that warm introduction. Matter of fact, I'm here, and I'm here to tell you that I am still excited about the reaction that came to the exhibit at the FDIC show in April. Radical, revolutionary new safety equipment, and in particular, rescue blades like none anyone has ever seen before or used in the industry.
Sure. Well, so Robert, that's fantastic. And thanks once again for being on the program. So what is going on in your world?
Well, we've been getting very busy, as you can probably imagine. After the FDIC convention, our office has been literally flooded with inquiries, with incoming letters, phone calls, emails, what have you, all wanting more information about this incredible new blade. And you know, the statistics are pretty scary when you take a look at how many people in the industry either get injured or die in the course of a year of just doing their basic job.
Sure. So we have some incredible statistics for all of our listeners. If we were to look at it, Robert, on a national basis, the amount of firefighter injuries are massive on a large scale. As a matter of fact, I'm reading here that just to give you an example, in 2012, there were 69,400 firefighter injuries across the United States.
And that number is absolutely staggering when you consider the fact that that's more injuries than we have actual fire stations in the country.
Exactly. The number of fire stations across the country is about 40,000, right?
Approximately, yes.
Yeah. So let's give people an overview of just how incredible all of these fire stations are all across the country, what a tremendous job that they do, because basically on any given 24-hour period, You have a lot of calls coming into the different stations with a lot of different emergencies. Tell us about the scope of everything that goes on a daily basis and why you are here to promote fire station and firefighter safety.
Of course. Well, you've got everything that can run the gamut, from getting a stranded pussycat out of a tree all the way down to going to a flooded channel where cars have actually fallen in and getting the human beings safely out of those cars before they drown.
Let me talk about that for a second. You brought up an interesting point, because every day in the news we see on CNN, on Fox, on all of the news programs all across the country, 10s, 20s, 30, 100 cars upside down, completely crushed, and they look like accordions. How do they rescue people, and how does your blade help in these rescue efforts?
Well, in many cases where we're talking about submerged cars, they're actually going to use stuff that rips the car open even faster than a blade can cut through. The Jaws of Life, for one thing, is a very, very universally used device. In addition to which, though, if they can't quite get the Jaws of Life in place, then they have our blade in the K12 rescue saw, and literally this thing will cut clean through car doors, fenders, what have you, and enable them to pull those panels off the car and get to the people inside.
What makes your blade so different in terms of getting the all of this heavy-duty material to cut and to preserve life? Because that is the name of the company, Platinum Preservation. Your mission is to preserve life and to preserve safety, right?
Absolutely. And again, one of the beautiful things about this new blade, it allows us to help promote the safety and preserving the life of the rescue workers just as much as the people they're rescuing. And let me explain. The traditional rescue blade is made using segments to which they mount diamonds and then weld those segments around a round steel core. Now, the problem you run into with that, over time, those welding joints weaken and ultimately fail. And if you try to get the maximum life and usage out of those blades, you run a tremendous risk of something that's called segment loss occurring. Now, it's no fun to get hit by a flying 2-ounce chunk of steel that just flew off the outside of a blade that was spinning at 6,000 RPM. But this is literally what can happen to you. Now, the other problem that you run into when you have segments on a blade is called kickback. And kickback is absolutely ugly. What happens with kickback when you're cutting through a rather thick, solid substance? Blade, because of the segments themselves not being completely true and in alignment, can freeze and stop dead right at the middle of a 6,000 RPM spin. Now, when you're holding a 75-pound rescue saw, 6,000 RPMs can wrench that right out of your hands, and literally you've got an out-of-control tool going crazy around you. In addition to which, the material that you were cutting, depending upon what it is, could fragment and shoot up and pierce your abdomen or your upper torso, sending you straight to the hospital, and hope, you never know, but God willing, not to the morgue. But unfortunately, way too many firefighters and rescue workers end up with those kinds of injuries, taking their lives. And this is the thing that causes me to be so excited about this blade, because now what's different? There's no segments. The blade is made using a revolutionary unibody design. And what that means is, instead of segments, the diamonds are welded directly around the body itself, and the blade absolutely runs smoother and lasts far longer, and again, is far safer because it eliminates segment loss completely, being no segments on the blade. It also eliminates kickback. And these are the two things that are the greatest risk to the rescue workers and the firefighters in general.
Family or killing them.
Okay, great. Let me just say something. Those are very, very impressive numbers. I did not have any idea that the amount of firefighter injuries was that vast. If you look at the major type of injuries received during fireground operations, it ran anywhere from strains, sprains, muscular pain, wounds, cut, bleeding, bruises, and a whole host of other things. But we're talking about basically the loss of life. I mean, this is a very, very dangerous profession.
Yes.
And we want to send all of the firefighters and the chiefs, we want to send them home to their families safe every single day after a hard day's work, don't we?
Absolutely. You know, this is something that really I take it very personally, and this is a lot to me. This is a lot more than a business. This is a personal mission. And I have to tell you, my interest in this started when I was young. And I had a very good friend whose father was a firefighter, and he got involved in the rescue end of things. And he ended up losing an arm because of an accident involving one of the rescue saws that they were using at the time. Now again, this was quite a number of years ago, and the equipment has all changed since then, but the fact of the matter, the risk factor remains constant, as you can tell from the numbers themselves. It's absolutely shocking. And when you take a look at the statistics, you'll see that over 10% of those 69,000 injuries each year have to do with actual physical injuries, cuts and wounds, bruises, and so on and so forth. And that is the exact territory we're talking about, where the saw and the blade are so critical.
Well, I know that you get hundreds and hundreds of calls every week or every month in terms of inquiries where they actually can order the blades and purchase the blades. Would you be kind enough to give our audience the exact details of your company in case there's any firefighters or any construction personnel listening to the program that want more information regarding the blade?
Absolutely. Number one, my company name is Platinum Preservation. I'm the managing partner, and my name is Robert West. To reach us, the telephone number is area 213-388-6037. Our address is 3540 Wilshire Boulevard, penthouse number 5, Los Angeles, California, 90010. And our email address, if you need to reach me, it's robert.platinummp, that's platinum P as in Peter, @gmail.com. Now, our company's been in business since 2007, and quite honestly, prior to 2007, I really was not aware of the advances that had been made in safety. So it's been a very rewarding enterprise for me to be out there actually working to get the word out.
Absolutely, and thank you very much for sharing, Robert. I can't tell you how incredible this information is. And basically, you've been at the 3540 address since 1993, correct? So this is, Platinum just was probably an origin that came out of all of the construction and property preservation businesses, correct?
That is correct.
So let me say this, from one professional to another, this is more than just a business for you. It's actually a mission. You're on a mission to save lives, to preserve the firefighter safety, to make sure that these fire chiefs and these firefighters and the volunteer firefighters across the country, they get home safe to their families, correct?
Absolutely. That's got to be job number one.
So let me ask you this, Robert. On a typical day, we see thousands upon thousands of rescue operations all across the country. And if we look at the numbers on a larger scale, those numbers keep going up. So the amount of calls that come into the different departments is steadily increasing, and minutes count. Minutes can be the difference between life and death, correct?
Sometimes seconds count.
You're absolutely right, seconds. So tell us a little bit about a typical rescue operation with one of your blades. Tell us about that.
Okay, well, let's paint a picture here of a multi-vehicle pileup, for instance. And perhaps there's an 18-wheeler involved, the jackknifed, and all of a sudden you've got all of these other motorists just plowing into it. And their cars are being completely mutilated, virtually destroyed. They can't open the doors, they can't open the windows. They're basically stuck. And there's a fire because some of the fuel got out and got ignited. And this is where time becomes so very critical. Now, with our rescue blade, for instance, this is considered to be the safest rescue blade in operation anywhere on the planet, by the way. But mounted to the rescue saw, the K12 saw, this blade will literally cut through a car door within a matter of seconds. It doesn't take very long, okay? And I have actually seen a video in which they demonstrated the blade cutting through the rear axle of an 18-wheeler.
Unbelievable. You mean this blade can virtually cut through anything, right? What is some of the material that it can cut through?
Well, rebar for one, steel, tempered steel. Anyone who's ever attempted to cut through tempered steel, even with the best quality hacksaw, knows exactly how tough that is.
Absolutely.
And ductile iron, the kind of iron that's used in water main pipes and such. Again, there's just a whole wide array of materials. This will cut through wheels and tires. It'll literally cut through safety glass, bulletproof glass, what have you. And there's really nothing it won't cut through. Now, again, when seconds count, this is a blade that is designed to cut quick and smooth all the way through. So that is one of the most critical, I consider, selling points of this blade to any fire chief running any fire department any place. He knows that he's going to be able to do his job a lot more effectively, but also, and keep his men a lot safer than is traditionally considered the case.
Yeah, thank you very much for that, Robert. And I know that you have testimonials from fire chiefs all across the country, isn't that correct?
Absolutely. At the moment, we have a list compiled that's about 60 or 70 names long of fire chiefs in pretty much every state of the union. And these are all chiefs that have acquired and have been using this blade for some time. And they are that enthusiastic about it and what it's done for their men that they were willing to make public their own contact information, phone numbers, emails, etc., and allow virtually anyone that wants to contact them to get their reading on this blade.
That's very impressive. I'm Andy Subia, 88.7, your host, and we are here with Robert West from Platinum Preservation, talking about firefighter safety across the country, fire stations, volunteer fighter fires. And you know what? We're missing a huge segment of the population. What about the police officers too? They might get involved with some rescue operations of their own, right?
There are times when that's the case, especially in smaller communities.
Absolutely.
You know, where different rescue services have to be consolidated under one banner. Yes.
Not even a question. Why don't you give our listeners, for all of the people that are listening in Southern California right now, and all across the United States, we welcome you to 88.7 FM. This is Crossroads. We're a nonprofit organization bringing you the very best in programming for the community, for cities, counties, and states, and of course all over the United States of America. And for all of you listening to us on the World Wide Web, we want to welcome you to this program and give you a little slice of Americana, a little bit of what happens when we have rescue, fire, and safety operations here in the United States. And hopefully some of our ideas may help you in your rescue and safety operations as well. Robert, give the listeners worldwide and nationwide your company information once again, so that in case they need additional information, they can give you a call.
Yes, happy to do so. For those that may not have had the chance to note this information down earlier, the company name is Platinum Preservation. I am Robert West, and I'm the managing partner. The phone number to reach me directly is area 213-388-6037. Again, the phone number is 213-388-6037. Our address is 3540 Wilshire Boulevard, penthouse number 5, Los Angeles, California 90010. Our email address to get anything you need to me directly, questions, comments, concerns, would be robert.platinup, that's platinum, P as in Peter, @gmail.com.
Fantastic, Robert. Once again, 88.7 FM, we welcome you to the program. We have a very special guest with us, Robert West, and it's such a pleasure to have him here. The breadth and the scope of operations all across the country are staggering. We have an overview of firefighter injuries for 2012, 2013, and basically, Robert, these numbers are staggering and they keep going up every year, right? I'm going to give you a perfect example of something that was very, very prominent here in Southern California. Off of the 710 freeway, which is the Long Beach corridor, there was an accident that basically involved like 27 vehicles. Imagine the scope and the breadth of an operation like that, where you have so many cars that need attention in a very short period of time. And if you couple that with some big rigs, the situation could really get out of control very, very quickly.
Absolutely. Well, I'm no stranger to the traffic on the Southern California freeways. And I have to tell you, there are times when it feels as though you're taking your life in your hands just to enter the freeway.
Well, basically, you're absolutely right. Let me ask you this. I know that your blades have been prominently featured in the FDIC International Convention in Indianapolis. I know that you're also in Las Vegas as well. So basically, your mission is to promote firefighter safety and fire station safety all across the country. And for all of you fire station personnel, chiefs, commanders, volunteers, if you would like to come on the program and be part of a panel, we certainly would invite you to call Mr. West, and we would love to have you on the program. We could actually do an interview in your city, county, or state, and actually we could talk about what goes on in your region, and we could have you as a guest on the program. So in coming weeks, we're going to invite Mr. West back, because I think that this is worthy of future programming here on 88.7 FM, and Andy Zubia, your host. And Robert, I got to tell you, I would love to bring you on a few more weeks so that we can have some incredible programming, invite maybe some fire chiefs to the station so that we can get their perspective and actually hold a round-robin conference here, because I think that the amazing work, the incredible risk that this personnel take all over the country, we salute you. We take our hats off to you. What you do for us could never be paid. It's an act of incredible generosity on your part to save lives, to go out there and risk your life to save lives. Robert, I can't tell you what that means.
I completely agree, Andy. Now, by the way, let me also, for those that don't know, FDIC stands for Fire Department Instructor Conference. So this is a very legitimate, professional organization for fire chiefs and fire departments all across the country, and they showcase the tools that enable firefighters to do their jobs and keep them safe at the same time. Now, Platinum Preservation, by the way, has been distributing such items since 2007, and we chose the name very deliberately because platinum is the rarest, most precious of all the metals. It's more expensive even than gold. Now, we see our position in the market as promoting gear that preserves life and safety, hence Platinum Preservation. And I have to tell you something, to me, I can't imagine a better way to make my living than fulfilling a mission that's going to help create additional safety and preserve the lives of people that are out there. All they're doing is benefiting their communities. And as far as I'm concerned, I want to help in any particular way that I can.
Not even a question, Robert. And also we might want to just point out that there is a fantastic organization that is national. It's the National Fire Protection Association, and basically they are the authority on fire, electrical, and building safety. And also they have a whole section on their website dedicated to fire and firefighter and fire station safety. And it's a great website. So once again, I'm going to repeat it. 88.7, your favorite radio station here in Southern California. The name of the association is the National Fire Protection Association. Check out the website. You'll find a lot of incredible news articles, a lot of fantastic information about codes and standards, safety information, training, research, and that's one of the things that you're mostly all about, right, Robert? You're about safety information, you're about training, you're about research, and also if, let's put the shoe on the other foot, if fire stations or fire chiefs across the country want to interview you, they could call you and you could do an interview and run it on the radio for that particular fire station or fire chief, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah. We have, just going back to the National Fire Protection Association, we have, believe it or not, some firefighter information that was recently put out by the NFPA. And there's all kinds of injuries that are kind of directly related with firefighters. And we have exertion, stress and medical. We have crashes, struck by objects, structural collapse. They fell from buildings or from ravines. They were exposed to electricity. There was internal trauma or crushing. So there are so many things, so many dangers out there lurking for the firefighters. It's unbelievable, Robert.
Absolutely. And you know, probably the #1 cause of death is smoke inhalation.
Absolutely, and it's stated here in the National Fire Protection Association website. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. And what I would really like to see is something developed that would enable these firefighters to make it through a completely smoke-infused environment and have fresh air to breathe at the same time.
Absolutely. So you mean your blade, if a firefighter is in a burning building and they need, let's say it has steel bars, and they need to rescue somebody inside, they could literally cut through the steel bars and proceed with the rescue operation, correct?
Yes, that has been known to happen innumerable times.
So it can go through concrete, steel, steel windows, everything, right?
Pretty much. Although I have to say this blade's primary purpose is not so much cutting through masonry,
Yes.
concrete, asphalt, stone, or that kind of thing. It's more geared towards cutting through metals and other hard materials that are more likely to be found at the scene of a crash or at the scene of a car having gone off the road. It's more for that kind of purpose.
But again, your company also has other types of blades that will perform other duties for other materials or
Absolutely.
components, right?
We have a catalog full of blades designed for different purposes. And again, we're distributors for blades that are really and truly top drawer, top quality blades. These are the most state-of-the-art cutting blades you'll find anywhere in the United States.
And of course, your company stands behind the blades, isn't that correct? So you're basically
Absolutely.
taking the risk out
Correct.
of the purchase order, correct?
Correct.
Robert, what an incredible radio show we've had here today. For all of you that are listening to 88.7 FM on your radio dial here in Southern California, we want to thank Robert West for coming on the program. Robert, we would like to invite you in the next several weeks to do a few more shows, because I think that this program really merits more attention. The issue of firefighter safety and fire station safety is of primary importance, and I think that one show does not do this justice. We would like to ask you for your generous time once again, and we'd like to make some public service announcements. Would you be agreeable to doing some public service announcements on a nationwide basis, promoting firefighter safety and fire station safety?
Without a doubt.
Yeah, so one of the thoughts that we've had here at Crossroads, a nonprofit organization, is to actually do public service announcements, because we want the communities, we want the cities, the counties, the parishes to get out there and volunteer their time and do fundraisers for the fire stations, for their volunteer fire stations and firefighters, because we want to start a movement all across America. Don't you agree, Robert?
I completely agree. And you know, based upon what I have seen, what I witnessed at the FDIC convention, at the booth where these blades were being premiered and featured and sold, there was almost a constant beehive level of activity going on. Fire department personnel, rescue personnel, all wanting more information or going ahead and actually ordering these blades for their use.
And I know that the phones are starting to ring in the studio, and I guess we're starting to get a lot of calls here. So for all of the fire chiefs or firefighter personnel that are calling for questions, today we're not going to take any questions on the air. We're probably going to save that for the next radio show. But if you're interested in purchasing or ordering the blade, I fully understand, and we will return all phone calls after the program, and all emails will be returned promptly within the next 24 hours. Robert, it's been such a pleasure. Been such a pleasure having you on 88.7 FM. Just to wrap up the show, give all of our radio listening audience your contact information, please, once again.
Yes, I'll be happy to. But before I do that even, let me just say this. Fire and rescue personnel do a job that carries with it the ever-present risk of serious, even fatal injury. So taking saw blade, just to name the one area we're focusing on today, to take saw blade failure out of the equation is absolutely huge. There's no way you can put a dollar value on that.
Absolutely right, Robert.
Okay, and in America today, I'd like to point out, there are more than 40,000 fire stations. Now that's tens of thousands of American people that are serving their communities, putting their lives on the line every day to help their communities, to help their neighbors, to help keep this place a good place to live. Now my heart goes out to these heroic and unselfish citizens who want to make their communities better places to live. And I would encourage all able-bodied citizens to consider volunteer service in their communities, I think we can all do something to keep America the best place on earth to live.
Thank you so much for those sentiments, Robert. It's been a pleasure having you on the show. Once again, give our listening audience your contact information.
Sure. Once again, I'm Robert West, Managing Partner of Platinum Preservation. Our phone number is 213-388-6037. Our address is 3540 Wilshire Boulevard, penthouse number 5, Los Angeles, California, 90010. My email address to get to me directly is robert.platinummp, that's platinum P as in Peter, @gmail.com.
Once again, Robert, we want to thank you for your time. You have been so generous with your time and coming down to the studio and sharing with us your absolute expertise in this field, which I had absolutely no idea was so incredible. 88.7 FM. Robert, may I be so bold as to ask you to come to the station next week so we can do another show?
Absolutely, it would be my pleasure.
Thank you so much. 88.7 FM. This is Andy Zubia, your host from Crossroads, a nonprofit organization to you. Have a safe day. We want to thank you for tuning in. Till next time, we wish you the very best. Be well. That was perfect, Bruce. You have an incredible voice.
Thank you.
God damn. Now that was a show.
Well, through decent microphones with equalizers.
¿Sabes qué, Julio? Ahorita quiero que vayas al principio. Hubo una pequeña donde le dije Bruce, so tenemos que quitar eso, eliminar eso inmediatamente, porque dije Bruce y luego le dije vamos a editar esa parte, ¿de acuerdo? So we're going to edit the part where I said Bruce. So we can clean it up, edit it, and do all of that.
You know, he had said, I'm going to avoid doing that, you know.
You have a great voice. Huh?
Yeah, unbelievable. See, thank you. Thank you for very masculine. It's almost like a baritone voice. Okay.
I would like to be the next Robert W.
Please, Morgan.
Ahorita lo voy a editar.
Okay, so edítalo.
Have your water.
Are you too?
Oh, you did? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Is that Julito?
I'm trying to stay hydrated.
But not that much, right? No, 5.
Well, I don't want to have to be running to the men's room every 10 minutes.
Okay. So tú lo editas, Julio, y me avisas cuando ya esté listo. Despídete de la señorita.
Okay.
Dile hasta luego.
En donde dice Bruce, ¿verdad?
Sí, donde dice Bruce y vamos a editar esto, nomás corta todo.